Hello everyone, and welcome to my new Let's Look At, and for those who didn't catch that, that's it. If you are sensitive to flashing lights, be careful. I don't want anybody to have a seizure out there. But we're going to be looking at Time Machine VR. Now this is a new game out on PSN, and obviously it's a VR title. This is a game that is about exploration and research. It is not particularly an action title. It can have a little bit of action by things trying to eat you and you having to run away from them. Or while you have to study them by going into their mouth, which is very fun and terrifying at the same time. But you do get a little bit of powers like being able to freeze time for a short period of time to either scan or what have you.
Welcome back to Svalbard. I can't wait to upload your data on Pliosaurus and Ophthalmosaurus.
Rob, are you there?
Yes, apologies, Doctor. That thing disrupted communications.
Yes, it looks like Stonehenge.
I'll analyze the logs.
Thank you. I wish we had more time to spend on this. But I'm afraid our worst hypotheses are catching up with us. Rob, I have to issue a code 12.
Very risky, Doctor.
I'm aware. Do you have the visual? Cadet. When we built this station, core samples revealed something terrible. An ancient virus, perhaps millions of years old, trapped beneath the ice. With global temperature rising and ice receding, we knew it could spread. And well.
Doctor, Ali tested positive, didn't he?
Yes. So we need to ramp up our search for a cure. Cadet, we've been collecting data from the past to understand what effect the virus had on prehistoric hosts, and what to expect if anyone contracts it now.
This is what the data you've been scanning is for.
Yes. And we need you even more now. We have to develop a cure before the worst comes to pass. We need a breakthrough.
If we just had a little more time to train, it would...
And risk more infections? If this virus spreads, no. Train on the job. We need as much data as we can get, and quickly.
Yes, Doctor. You should familiarize yourself with the Dinodex. It's where we save all the data we gather. You can also peruse the Dinodex to learn more about the creatures that we've encountered.
Okay, so sorry for the just all of a sudden storyline, but I didn't want to do the first tutorial level. I figure everybody's probably going to be doing that for their Let's Look Ats. I figured let's do an actual level. So we're starting on level 2. And as soon as I remember how to actually start this thing, which, by the way, it's R2 once you're in that outline. I forgot all about that. We can actually get to what we like to call the, I don't know if it's the Dinodex, I think they call it. It's basically a journal of what all you've discovered so far, and neat little facts and neat little factoids on whatever you were researching. For the first level, all you really had was, I think, 2 things. Yeah, the Pilosaurus, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but you can read all about them, or not all about them, but you can read about them, see what the physiology, different things about them. I found it really interesting. Then again, I like Jurassic things just like this, so it's up to you whether you like it or you just go, just give me into the, the action. But if you're into an action kind of person, I'm not really sure this is for you. I will say this about the game, though. This does make you feel like you are in that. It has a really good sense of immersion at being in that vehicle. Only thing I'm a little disappointed in is they don't let you see outside when you're time traveling. I think the reason the game gave is if you saw outside right now, it would probably drive you crazy. Which is a nice way of covering for, we don't know what to put here. So they just kind of black out the screen. Hey, I call it the way I see it.
Oh, yes. Your next assignment is more than ready. Feel free, though, to take a moment to rest before heading out again.
Yes, well, we won't be doing that. As you can see, there's 4 little things there, like 4 little, I don't want to call them landing pads, but you know what I'm talking about there. But don't worry, it's more than 4 levels. If you are, well, actually I think it is 4 levels, but you can go back and research and basically just mess around during the things if you want. I'm assuming, I know, well, I have to assume because I haven't got 100% on all the stuff I've done so far. I have to assume if you go back, you can get 100% on different Dynodexes, like entries. So for the completionists that are like being immersed in, well, this environment, this is fun.
All systems are now online and operational. Prepare for temporal relocation in 3, 2, 1.
I do really like the way they did the beginning of the temporal relocation thing, like this whole little mini cutscene. I love this. Really makes you feel like you're going forward or past, you're back in time. And yes, your controller is shaking when your hands are shaking at the same time. And it's not move control. I don't know if it's move controller compatible. I never really looked it up, but I think it's, I'm using a DualShock 4, so yeah, there's that. The other minor little pet peeve is if you look up, well, up, you can see what time you're in. It doesn't actually show it going backwards. I'm sure that probably would have been pretty difficult to do, but it was a little pet peeve, but it's not a big one. Like if I look up now, which I don't think I did in this part of the video. The reason I can't do this live is because I have a microphone in front of me, and that interferes with the tracking of the headset. So I'm having to do this in post commentary for anybody going like, "Why aren't you looking up then?" That would be why. Someone's gonna say that's an excuse.
Those look quite a bit like our modern Nautiluses. Observe the soft cephalopod body emerging from the buoyant shell. Since we're here, why not tag one with a probe so we can identify which genus this is?
He has a lot of dialogue, by the way, so I won't be talking as much.
We're looking at titanites, a species at the root of modern squids and octopuses, but not direct ancestors of the Nautilus. They appear to be scavenging for a meal. Recent seismic activity must have washed many smaller creatures into the area for them to eat. While titanites are fascinating, they are not our core objective. Let's find a Dacosaurus.
To be that guy, isn't the plural of octopus octopi? That's just me being a little bit semantic.
Geyser? Pressurized water superheated by magma. Not hot enough to harm our pod, but it could make navigation challenging.
And if you do hit like a side, you hear like a little bit of a crashing noise. I don't think you can crash the thing, but you can hear like a noise, like you just rammed into something.
Dacosaurus. Fortunate for us, they are focused on a massive carcass. Their behavior is unexpected. Since we're in no danger, let's try to identify the carcass. Scan all exposed flesh to collect DNA data.
Now, if you're thinking, oh, that's boring, they're not going to try and kill you. Well, in the first level, they actually are. The main enemies are, in fact, volatile. This is actually one of the rarer circumstances where they're not actually trying to kill you right off the bat. But, yeah, you do have one little power. If you hit L2, you can actually freeze time for a little bit. It's not really freeze time. Time still goes by very slowly. It's like time dilation, I guess you could call it. I'm not smart enough to know what that really means, though. But I've heard the term chucked around. But it really helps when you're trying to, scan the inside of something's mouth that wants to kill you, essentially. So, I mean, it's needed. That and the fact that things tend to swim pretty fast if you don't do that, so it can be hard to, scan them. It does kind of make the things when they try and kill you a bit less scary, I should say, because you can kind of just freeze time and go, yeah, nope. But, I mean, you don't have any weapons, so, I mean, you got nothing else to do.
Fantastic. A Lusotitan, a large land dinosaur of the order Sauropoda, something of a land whale, so to speak. Decomposition leading to internal gases are responsible for the exposed chest cavity. I estimate it died within the past 3 weeks. Perhaps the earthquake is responsible. Or perhaps the doctor's virus. We should tag all the Dacosauruses with probes.
Tagging with probes and all that. You might be wondering, how do you get that menu up? You just hold R1 and then look at what you want. Pretty standard for VR, really.
Dacosaurus DNA confirmed. Good job. Let's do a more thorough analysis of their biology. Perform a scan on a Dacosaurus.
Now, as you're going to be able to see here, as I mentioned earlier, if you didn't have the freeze time feature, this would be extraordinarily difficult because that wagging tail or their fins can and will hit you and knock you back. So it would be extremely difficult to do so without using this, but probably possible. I don't know.
Preliminary analysis indicates that they are not a pack. The largest one is male, and the rest are female. Powerful jaws and serrated teeth. Their metabolism seems to be struggling, however. We need to know more about their behavior. Dacosauruses are infamous for being territorial and aggressive. Predators attack if they feel threatened or hungry. Our pod typically elicits some kind of aggressive response, but they seem to be ignoring us. I suggest you perform an ecography scan on the stomach of the largest Dacosaurus.
Right, and if you're wondering about the controls, the way the controls work is the left stick controls your acceleration or reverse, and the right stick controls your going right and left, and up and down is your altitude, I think. Or depth, I think is what the technical term underwater is, the nautical term. It's easy enough once you get used to it. The first few minutes you go, I can't get used to this, but you will eventually. It's really not that bad. It's actually a pretty good control scheme once you get used to it.
There's the answer. The Dacosaurus stomach you scanned is filled to the brim with meat and rocks. My database indicates several prehistoric species swallowed stomach stones to aid digestion, as well as control buoyancy. They are not attacking us because they have gorged themselves on the meat of the Lusotitan. They're simply too full to be aggressive. The Dacosauruses have been feasting on the Lusotitan for days now. We know from previous scans they have very powerful jaws. Let's determine just how powerful they are. Scan all highlighted Dacosaurus bite marks on the Lusotitan's carcass.
Now, if you remember when I said about immersion, about how I think it's really great immersive-wise, if you notice when I looked right and left and you saw little jets going up and down, I was basically moving the thumbsticks, and that's showing that it's actually like moving your, I don't want to call them propulsion system, but you know what I'm saying. It's a neat little thing. If you look down at your hands while you're hitting R2 or L2, you actually put your thumb on the button. So a neat little thing. Not really needed, but I appreciate it. But as for the core gameplay, I mean, it's basically, like I said, you're a researcher. You got to go and figure out how to get this virus. You know, you got to do some research to get rid of a virus. The first mission is, I don't think they introduced yet. This is the first one where they really got into it too much. And I might add, some of the ways, like, you have to get into wherever it is, feels like it's almost like a parking simulator, but not in a bad way. It doesn't feel like tedious. It just feels like, yeah, I did that without hitting anything, you know, kind of feeling. Because it can be, you can easily kind of like ram your craft into the wall if you're not too careful. If you just kind of hickledy-pickledy, you know, just go, I'm just going to go over here. You know, you got to do it a little, because there's momentum. If you keep going, you'll just keep going.
Exciting. The Dacosaurus's powerful jaw musculature allows them to lock into prey, rip off their flesh, and quickly swallow it whole. No chewing required. In fact, we should see it for ourselves. Let's see if we can't help open their appetites a little. Fortunately, I have just the tool for the situation. Bait. Fire the projectile directly at any living organism to make it appetizing to all nearby creatures. Use the bait on the lone Lusotitan meat chunk to attract a Dacosaurus.
Right, and this is how they introduce new tools for you. Obviously, as you see, I haven't unlocked all of them. I've only played, well, basically this was my first time playing through the second level, so this is all new to me. I'm not sure if you can go free roaming already. I think I tried doing that once and they said I need to get back on topic, or back on track, but that's why they have the free mode. And isn't this like altering the past? Like, I know that's probably not altering the past, but...
What splendor. This data confirms our scans were correct. They do not mess around. Look, Titanites. They must be interested in the Lusotitan's carcass too. Titanites are likely prey for Dacosaurus. This Lusotitan's carcass has provided many unique research opportunities. I would expect Dacosaurus to attack Titanites on sight. but we know that they've gorged themselves. That said, the Titanites seem remarkably undeterred by the presence of such predators. What could cause such confidence? Attach bait directly onto a Titanite to entice a Dacosaurus to attack, and then observe the event.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Like, I know this isn't exactly a huge change in history, but isn't that supposed to be like one of the time travel do not do's? You know, get stuff killed that wasn't going to be killed originally? Or attempt to do so? I don't know. That's my inner sci-fi geek coming out like, you shouldn't do that. But then again, in everything in sci-fi, they always change time a lot. Even though they say they shouldn't do it.
That's a surprise. The Dacosaurus allowed the Titanite to escape. Let's scan that Titanite.
Right. So you can pretty much see how the gameplay goes. Either scan, use whatever tool that they tell you to do. I'm looking forward to when I finally unlock the exploration mode, which is the free roam mode, because I really like just going around looking at stuff in VR, and I love the underwater look of this.
The external shell was barely scratched. This protection is likely why the Titanites were not more cautious.
Uh-oh. Hear that music? Stuff's going down.
Cadet, I have some bad news. A new basque of Dacosaurus have appeared. They seem in the mood for live prey, which in this situation means us. Hurry back to the research center. We cannot unload our data in a post-mortem state. Please scan the portal to initiate the transport sequence.
So yes, like I said, that time dilation effect kind of makes it trivial, because you don't ever really have to get caught. At least yet. They might have a really, really fast thing that can also undo that in the next levels. I don't know that. But for the first two, it's kind of like a get out of jail free card. Because I wasn't really in any danger there after I started using the time dilation. But, you know, it's not really an action game, so I don't really fault that.
All systems are now online and operational. Prepare for temporal relocation in 3, 2, 1.
I am wondering, though, if you drag one that far, if you even can drag one that far and you scan, if you can still get eaten at that point. I doubt it, but it's something to wonder about. Ponder. I doubt it, but yeah. Here we go again. By the way, if you're wondering, I'm cutting out a lot of the loading screens. I don't want to give any false sense of, oh, that loads in like 5 seconds. No, I think it loaded in 17 seconds. So I'm just cutting out a few seconds, 10, 15 seconds here and there. No false advertising here.
Good, you're back. Your latest batch of data was so thorough. Thank you. I know it's tiring work.
And how is your research against the virus progressing, Doctor?
The news is mixed. In the week since you left, the International Health Monitor has begun calling it the Jurassic flu.
Factually incorrect.
The point is they named it because it's spreading. We hoped ocean currents would keep it contained to the north longer, but the ice is receding faster than our models predicted. Currents have already carried it to Northwest Africa and the Caribbean. Once symptoms break, we expect it to spread across Africa and South America from host to host. From there, it will quickly take root on every continent.
Doctor, are you all right?
Fatigue. The cadet must feel it too.
We could assign more of my resources to you. I am designed to ensure your success after all.
Rob, your research systems are the best we have. The cadet needs everything you can offer. If you want to help me, look after the cadet. Search for the cure.
Of course, Doctor.
Keep up the excellent work.
Time travel is both physically and mentally demanding. Even more so with the fate of humanity on the line. That said, do not feel ashamed if you need to take a short break before returning to the past. In fact, I would recommend it.
Right, so we're going to take one last look at the Dino Decks to show exactly how much we learned from that, which I don't think was a hell of a lot as far as this is concerned, but it's like I said, I have to imagine in the free roam thing you'll be able to do a lot more with the extra tools that you'll get from the later ones, so you can get the update the Dino Decks with the extra things. And I'm actually looking forward to it. Some people might find it boring, but I mean, if you find it boring, then I guess this is just not your kind of game. But for anybody like me who likes just getting immersed in, well, underwater, prehistoric, or pre-Jurassic, or all these, I don't know the correct adjectives. And the point is, if you like underwater, Jurassic stuff, this is a fantastic game to get immersed in and just feel like you are in there. As far as story goes, I mean, you've seen what the story is, as much as I do at this point, so yeah, that's about all I got to say about that. So, as usual, guys, if you'd like to help support this channel, and I don't like saying this, but if you'd like to help support this channel, you may wish to like or even subscribe. So, thank you everyone for watching, and hopefully I shall see you next time. Farewell, everyone. Until then.